I'm your friend Dr. Charles Apoki. My son-in-law imports these materials in containers, and I want to thank Venus Stitches at Jakba Road by, what's the name of that bank again? By Zenith Bank. He makes these clothes for me free. Very wonderful fashion designer. He's a graduate. Now, there's a big challenge coming up in Nigeria and maybe the whole of Africa. It is not the issue of GDP or per capita income. It is the poverty of the mind. Poverty of the mind. Number one, excuse me, a lot of church folks, they have been made to get addicted to the promises and the prophecies of the Bible without teaching them the sociological principles of the Bible. There are sociological principles of the Bible that will lead to prosperity. It's not all these prophecies. It is not all these promises. You can pay tithe and still be poor if you don't know the principles of wealth creation. Somebody went to China and called me. He said, "Daddy, the devil lives where we stay." He said, "But God lives in China here." They don't go to church, but they are very, very rich. They don't pay tithes, but they are very industrialized. I don't care if you pay tithe or you give offerings. That's the minimum society expects from you. We're overemphasizing it. Now, Sabanci Foundation in Turkey gives scholarship to 27,000 students, university students. And they pay 5% of the annual tax of Turkey. That's a G20 country. They are not Christians, they don't pay tithes. That does not negate the fact that giving is good. Now, let's come to the poverty issue. I was in one of my building sites and I saw some girls with bleached skins, 2 girls, bleached skins, with pin. One of them had pin in her nostril. She was pressing a phone and she dyed the center of her head or hair. And with a malnourished baby, a baby suffering from marasmus. And then from investigation, I found out that her husband is one of the boys working on my site. And after some time, she begged me for 200 naira to buy something for the baby. I told her I usually don't give money to people like you, but it is because of this baby I'm giving you this money. Now, what is the point I want to make? There's a repetition of generational poverty now. One other one is the daughter of the man, another man working there. She has already given birth to another child. Just also marasmic like the other one. So you have a lineage of poverty, not as a result of the devil or necessarily the government, but the lack of understanding of the principles of life. Most likely, they didn't acquire education, they didn't acquire skills, they didn't practice delayed gratification. If not, she wouldn't have. And she's pregnant a second time for just following this one that is looking sickly that they are begging to feed. This poverty of the mind, this lack of understanding of the principles of living a decent life is what the church should start concentrating on. The mosques should start concentrating on. When you marry out, how many young girls or women, you just marry them out in Niger State and give them food materials, how long will they eat that food? Who are they going to produce? Who is going to take care of them? We should start addressing core issues that lead to poverty in Africa, in Nigeria, instead of giving palliatives. Can't even hear the word palliative. I will come to that in another video. The mind is very important. I just heard of a young girl that was trained, grew up in a very conducive environment, graduated, and she delivered now in a maternity, one place that is not befitting. Why did that happen to her? She comes from a poor background, but she refused to break her head away from poverty. She is married to another poor person who is the son of another poor man who made mistakes like the son made, and this girl is making another mistake like the mother made. And so there is this generational transfer of poverty. And when I made a video on what your father did not teach you, that if you are poor, your children will most likely marry whoever is available. Your children will get pregnant prematurely and repeat the cycle of poverty. These lectures we are giving, these seminars we are holding, these videos we are doing, is to emancipate the minds of the people by teaching them principles in the Bible, practices in the Bible, precedents in the Bible. And before we start talking about prayer and prophecies and promises, the prosperity gospel is not going to eradicate poverty from Africa and from poor nations. It is going to worsen poverty, because an anointed idiot is a dangerous person. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I have a conference coming up on the 7th and on the 8th of June by 7 p.m. Nigerian time. It is online. And when you send a message to +234 7052136763, I will send you the flyer of how to register for this seminar. It's a webinar. God bless you. Remember, I have properties for sale and I have books for sale. I remain your friend, the area grandfather, Dr. Charles Apoki, telling you what your father did not tell you.